Hello lovely people, my name is Boba, I like to yap about stuff, and today I'm yapping about one of my commander decks. You lovely people voted for Balmor Battlemage Captain, so that's the deck I'll be showing off today. The goal of this deck is to build a board of prowess creatures and keep a hand of pump spells and you can suddenly swing for lethal. Grab a snack, grab a drink, grab something to do, and let's get into it. Balmor Battlemage Captain is a 2-mana 1/3 with flying, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain trample until end of turn. Balmor pairs well with prowess creatures as he effectively doubles the power boost they get, and also gives your creatures a small amount of evasion with trample. The first important category is your prowess creatures. These are all creatures that get buffed in some way whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, whether it's a temporary buff via the namesake prowess ability, or it's a +1/+1 counter. The prowess creatures are Bloodwater Entity, which also recurs an instant or sorcery from your graveyard when it enters the battlefield, Emberheart Challenger, which is an exceptionally good target for pump spells due to its Valiant ability, Frolicking Familiar, Fugitive Codebreaker, Jeskai Sage, Kenra Spellspear, which can also flip into Jitaxian Spellstalker, which has 2 prowess abilities and Ward 2, so it's not hard to kill, Monastery Swiftspear, and finally, Spellgorger Weird, Sprite Dragon, and Tempest Angler, all of whom gain permanent +1/+1 counters rather than temporary buffs whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. But what good are prowess creatures if you don't have the pump spells to buff them with? I'd recommend that you keep 3 to 4 pump spells in your hand when you're going to swing for lethal. You have Brute Force, Bulk Up, Inordinate Rage, Monstrous Rage, Quick Draw, Titan Strength, and Turn Inside Out for your power boosting spells, and then you have Temur Battle Rage, Twinferno, and Uncaged Fury to give your biggest creature double strike. Do note, all of these spells are instants, so you can swing with all of your creatures, wait for your opponent to declare blockers, and then pump up any creature that wasn't blocked. That way, you can guarantee your biggest creature is going to hit your opponent. Alternatively, you also have Enter the Enigma to make one of your creatures unblockable, and then just pump up that one. They can't block it. Next up, we have Ramp. You have your standard mana rocks like Arcane Signet, Is It Cluestone, Is It Locket, Is It Signet, Mind Stone, and of course the ever-present Sol Ring. Then you have the cards that reduce the cost of all the instants and sorceries that you play, such as Goblin Electromancer, Mind Splice Apparatus, Mocking Sprite, and Stormcatch Mentor. You also have Simian's Spirit Guide, who sits in the unique position of not requiring mana to use, meaning you could possibly get your commander out on turn 1. Talk about a fast start. There are 3 creatures in the deck that make tokens whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, which makes for some pretty good chump blockers. Talrand makes Drakes, Miners Beware, Third Path Iconoclast makes Robots, and Young Pyromancer makes Elementals. Next up, we have the creatures that burn your opponent's face whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell. These are Corsication Mage, Erebor Flamesmith, Gutter Snipe, Immodane the Pyrohammer, fire name by the way, Kindle Spark Duo, Thermo Alchemist, and Unruly Catapult. These are helpful for lowering your opponent's life total indirectly, so that you don't have to deal as much damage when you finally decide that their life is about to end. There's also cards that copy instants and sorceries in some way. Alania, Divergent Storm, Chandra, Hope's Beacon, Leyline of Resonance, and Ogier Pakpatik, Deepest Epoch are all super useful for copying pump spells. There's also Harmonic Prodigy, one of the best cards in this deck. Harmonic Prodigy not only has prowess, but it also doubles the triggers of every other shaman and wizard you control. So that means at the very least, your commander is a wizard, meaning that your creatures get +2/+0 for each instant and sorcery, instead of the normal +1/+0. Aside from that, nearly half of your prowess creatures are shamans or wizards, and more than half of your token makers are shamans or wizards, and Alania is also a wizard, so 2 copies of the first instant or sorcery you cast. You also have your standard card draw and removal categories, and your land base is nothing out of the ordinary, just some dual lands I happen to own, and 16 of each basic. In full honesty, I did put this deck together despite going through my collection of cards I already owned from a previous deck. So here's how I'd improve it. I would cut some of the weaker creatures with prowess for some better options like Kiln Fiend and Slick Shot Show Off, and I would also add more evasion spells, whether it's just giving flying or giving unblockable, like Slip Through Space. That's all for now, lovely people. The link to the full deck list is in the description. Goodbye.